Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into the really powerful ideas behind what we call economic thinking. And look, it's not just about money or the stock market, it's actually a framework for understanding the choices you make every single day.
Think about it. Have you ever paid extra for faster shipping? Or maybe taken a toll road just to save a few minutes on your drive? Every single time you do that, you're engaging in economic thinking. You're weighing the costs against the benefits to get the thing you value most. So let's break down exactly how this all works.
So here's the game plan. We're going to start with the one problem that kicks this whole thing off, scarcity. Then we'll get into the toolkit economists use, talk about the ultimate goal, efficiency, and see how these ideas actually shape our laws. And finally, we'll wrap up with why this way of thinking really matters to you.
All right, let's dive right into the heart of it all. Section 1. The problem of scarcity. This is the simple but really profound reason why, well, none of us can have everything we want.
So, what is scarcity, really? It's basically the gap between our desires, which are pretty much infinite, and the very finite resources we have to get those things. We're talking about time, money, oil, you name it. And that's really what economics is all about at its core. It's the study of how we humans deal with this one single universal problem. Because of scarcity, every single society on the planet, no matter what, has to answer three fundamental questions. First, what are we going to make with the limited stuff we have? Should we build more electric cars or more hospitals? Second, how are we going to make it? Are we going to use lots of human labor or are we going to use advanced robots? And third, and this is a big one, for whom do we make all this stuff? Who gets to drive those cars and use those hospitals?
Okay, so that leads us perfectly into our second section, thinking like an economist. If scarcity is the problem, then this way of thinking is the toolkit we use to try and find the best solutions.
At its heart, economic thinking is really the study of human behavior. It kind of starts with this one big idea that, for the most part, people are rational. We're not just making random choices. We are constantly, and often without even realizing it, calculating how to get the most benefit for the lowest cost.
So the first big tool in this toolkit is something you probably use without even thinking about it: cost-benefit analysis. Just imagine the government is trying to decide whether to build a new highway. On one side, they list out all the costs, the price of construction, the environmental impact. On the other side, they list the benefits, like better trade, faster transportation for everybody. If the benefits column outweighs the costs column, well, the project gets the green light. It's a simple idea, but it's an incredibly powerful way to make decisions.
All right, tool number 2, incentives. An incentive is just anything that nudges you to do something or not do something. And our world is absolutely built on them. Fines for parking illegally are an incentive to follow the rules. Patents are an incentive for inventors to create new things. But you have to be careful, because incentives can backfire spectacularly. There's this classic story called the Cobra effect. In colonial India, a city put a bounty on dead cobras to get rid of them. People responded to the incentive by starting to breed cobras just to cash in. So when the government caught on and canceled the program, the breeders just let all their now worthless snakes go, and the city ended up with more cobras than when they started. It just goes to show, if you want to change how people behave, you better design the right incentive.
And that leads us to a really important tool: marginal thinking. Now, this isn't about the total cost or the total benefit. It's all about the cost and benefit of doing just one more. So a company doesn't ask, should we be in the business of making laptops? No, they ask, if we make just one more laptop, will the extra revenue be more than the extra cost? If the marginal benefit is bigger than the marginal cost, they do it. It's that simple.
So all of this thinking, cost-benefit, incentives, marginal analysis, it's all building towards one big thing. And that's our third section. The goal is efficiency. The whole point of using this toolkit is to get the absolute most out of the scarce resources we have.
When economists talk about efficiency, they are talking about something pretty specific. It's about maximizing the total well-being of society. It's a situation where nothing is wasted, where we've organized everything so perfectly that you can't make one person better off without making somebody else worse off. Now, that's an ideal, but it's the goal we're always striving for.
Now, efficiency isn't just this one monolithic idea. It actually breaks down into 3 key types. First, there's productive efficiency. That's just about making things as cheaply as possible. Then you have allocative efficiency, which is about making the right things, the things people actually want. And finally, you have Pareto efficiency. That's that perfect balance point we just talked about, where any change would end up hurting someone.
Okay, so how do we actually get to this efficient state? How do we push society in that direction? Well, that brings us to section 4, where law meets economics. This is where all that theory gets incredibly real, because it shapes the very rules that we live by.
And this is where we get a great quote from Cooter and Yulin, who really hit the nail on the head. They say that law is one of the most powerful tools we have for shaping economic behavior. You can think of laws as just a massive, society-wide system of incentives, all designed to guide our choices.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Property laws give you the confidence to invest in a home or start a business because you know no one can just take it from you. Contract laws make sure that when people make a deal, they stick to it, and that's the absolute bedrock of commerce. And tort law, the law that deals with accidents and harm, it creates a huge financial incentive for companies to make safe products. See? These rules aren't just random. They're designed with a goal in mind: efficiency.
And that brings us to the big finale. Why does any of this actually matter? Because this isn't just some dusty academic exercise, it's a genuinely powerful new lens that you can use to see your world more clearly.
When you boil it all down, what economic reasoning gives you is a structured, logical way to analyze the world around you. It helps you cut through all the noise, all the opinions, and understand the hidden machinery that makes our society work, from our institutions to our government policies.
It's almost like a superpower, right? Once you have this toolkit, you can better understand how markets actually work. You can see the forces that determine the prices of everything you buy. You can listen to a politician talk about a new policy and actually evaluate it with a critical eye. You can even start to predict what might happen when a new law is passed.
So I want to leave you with a question to mull over. What are the hidden costs, the unseen benefits, and the powerful unspoken incentives that are shaping the biggest decisions in your life? Because once you start looking for them, trust me, you'll start seeing them absolutely everywhere.